All right, today we're going to be looking at the rules for multiplying and dividing with negative numbers. Now, luckily for us, the rules for multiplying and dividing kind of match, so we'll be going through the same process. All right, so I've got some sample multiply problems written out here. And whenever you're multiplying, and it's all multiply, of course, right now. We'll get to order of operations later in the week. But when it's all multiply, like these three sample problems, first thing I want you to see is that there's different ways to write multiply, and none of them use the letter X. Please never, ever, ever use the letter X for multiplying in a math class unless it's scientific notation. It is the only place we allow letter X for multiply anymore now that you're in big kid math. So that first one, step one, says multiply the numbers. It means I'm not going to worry about positives or negatives. I'm just going to times the 5, the 6, and the 2. Well, 5 times 6 is 30, and 30 times 2 makes 60. So that would be step one. Now I'm going to go back and count the number of negative signs. It doesn't matter which number is bigger at all here. It just matters how many are there. And when I count them, if I count an even number of negatives, meaning I get 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, that many negatives, then the answer is positive. If I count an odd number of negatives, like I only count 1 or 3 or 5 or 7 negatives, then the answer is negative. So in this one, I go through and I got 1 negative. Well, that's odd, which means the answer is negative 60. All right, for the next one, same thing. Numbers first. 5 times 6 times 2 is going to be 60. That doesn't change. What does change is how many negatives there are. So I can go back through and count them. And even though I meant to put a negative 2 there, I didn't because I wanted one with 1, one with 2, and one with 3. So I've changed the problem. But that doesn't matter. So now I'm going to go back and count the negatives, and I count that there's 2 negatives. Well, 2 is even, which means that this is a positive 60 answer. Now the last one, same thing. 5 times 6 times 2, that's still 60. I go back and count the negatives. There's 1, 2, 3 of them. That's an odd number of negatives. So the answer is negative 60. All right, so those are the rules for multiply. The rules for divide are exactly the same. All right, when with division, there should be a symbol you recognize from your entire childhood. This first one here, this line with a dot above it and a dot below it. So if I'm following the directions on that one, I should be just dividing the numbers. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And then it's the same exact rule for the negatives. If I count an even number of negatives, then the answer is positive. If I count an odd number of negatives, the answer is negative. I count 1 negative. 1 is odd, so the answer is negative 3. All right, now this last one, you might not think about this as division. You might think of this as a fraction. But this is not a fraction. I don't know if you knew this or not. I'll come back to this page in a second. But a fraction bar is a division symbol. I'm going to say that a lot. A fraction bar is a division symbol. Hey, did you know that a fraction bar is a division symbol? I like to say that a fraction bar is a division symbol because a lot of you don't know that a fraction bar is a division symbol. And if you don't know that a fraction bar is a division symbol, it's something you need to learn, that a fraction bar is a division symbol. On your calculator, when you go to type in a division problem, it's going to look like a fraction bar. In algebra, every math class past algebra, a fraction bar is simply just a division symbol. So when I see this, it's not fractions. This is still 15 divided by 5, which is 3. And I go back and count the negative signs. There were 2 of them. That's an even number, which means that the answer is positive 3. So again, you've got to understand that a fraction bar is a division symbol. I hope that you remember that because a fraction bar is a division symbol, and you need to know that. Fraction bar is a division symbol. If I've annoyed the crap out of you, then good, it worked. Sorry, but that's the way I teach sometimes, is with annoyance. All right, well, good luck on your work today. Have fun.